broadcasting, but I can't see the LinkedIn screen yet, but we'll get there. There we go. Okay, let's have the feed, please. Matt.
All right, 15 seconds. All right, have a great show.
Somebody want to dance or sing? My drums are in the other room. I'm sorry. Adam is dancing, but we don't have any music. Igor, you have a guitar or anything? Jumbi?
No, I dance like Al Gore, so that's not good.
Oh, now I want to see it.
No politics on my. Here we go.
Where does yesterday's future, which is already here, meet today's future, which is about to happen, and tomorrow's future, which could be just minutes away? Welcome to Technology Revolution, the future of now, where host Bonnie D. Graham asks savvy futurists for their predictions about the tech-driven trends that are shaping our future right now. Here's your host, who will take us into the future of now, Bonnie D. Graham.
Thank you to the voice who introduces me, Bonnie D. in the house. Happy to be here. It's Wednesday. Where else would I be? Those of you watching us on LinkedIn, guests, wave hello to LinkedIn, wave hello to Facebook, wave hello to YouTube, please. Those of us watching, if you think my background looks a little different than usual, it is. This is another one of my creations in Night Cafe Studio, and it's a little on the dystopian side, and that's a little clue. We're talking, well, not exactly. We're talking today. It's part 2 about the future of smart cities and AI. And I've got a wonderful returning panel, and I'm going to read my opening here, and I will have a little section for each of you. I've had a little bit of factoids about smart cities, so bear with us. So here we go. Upon the airwaves, Bonnie D. stands. Actually, I'm sitting. Scarlett mic in her hands, envisioning the future of smart cities and AI, predicting innovations that reach for the sky. Everybody reach for the sky. There you go. Reach. Everybody up. That's good. Okay. By 2050, in the UN's sight, 70% of folks will urbanize, a global might. Our need for change is ever so clear. Towards smarter networks we must steer. In cities bright with technology sheen, AI orchestrates a futuristic scene. Urban transport, sleek and green, water sources kept pristine, buildings that sip rather than swig, high energy efficiency, a new power gig. Internet of Things, sensors and data unveil smart cities dreams that will prevail, improving lives, a better day, ensuring public safety in every way. So Earth, that's a new part. I added that. I didn't get to all of your parts. Adam, you like that? Adam's nodding. I think he liked that a lot. I liked it. I did the poeming on that one. Earth.org's top 7 cities in 2024 named Singapore, Helsinki, Zurich, and Oslo. Amsterdam, New York, Seoul. Let's see where today's 4 futurists go. So now I'm going to get to all of you. Adam Robyak, wave hello. With knowledge profound, Dell's data science and AI, he does expound from clouds to twins and blockchain's array. Adam's a tech visionary lighting the way. Adam, you like it?
Wow, that was nice. I like it. I gotta swipe that from you, Bonnie.
I rent the poems out, Adam. We'll have to negotiate. I have a rate for returning guests, so you'll all get a discount. Brenna Berman is back, steering innovation grand, strategies, partnerships, EVP at Dense Air. She takes a stand, envisioning urban scale sensing with array of things wide, solving global challenges with urban pride. Hello, Brenna. Oh, she liked that too.
Hey, I like that one. That's great.
Good. Jumbi Edulbehram, I hope I said that right. Spaces Guide, NVIDIA's realms with AI allied. Smart cities with an intelligent brand, transforming landscapes with his expert hand. Jumbi?
Wow,
Oh,
very nice.
okay. And Igor Jablokov, AI's pioneer, voice recognition brought in so clear. From Yap to Pryon, his inventions shine, a luminary true in tech design.
Thanks for
Igor?
having me.
Like that? Okay. I think he liked it. He doesn't smile much, but I think he liked it. Tune in, listen, or watch. Let the conversation unfold. The future of smart cities and AI predictions will be told, with Bonnie D leading the talk. In which smart cities will you walk the walk? What'd you all think? Do I get a thumbs up on that?
Definite thumbs up.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you very much. I won't give you the quiz on how long it took ChatGPT to give me the core of the poem, because you all know the drill. I do that on my shows where people are new guests, and I say, how long? And I say, how many minutes? And some people say 1 or 2 or this. And okay, let's go to seconds. How many seconds? If they've seen my show, they know it's about 2.2 seconds. By the way, I tried an AI search engine last week. I don't remember which one, but I just thought I would try it. And It was very slow, so I'm sticking with ChatGPT. Thank you. No comments, no aspersions there. So let's go around the table. Since you've all been on in March on the show, at part one of this topic, we don't need the full 3-minute, 5,000-word bio. So let's just do a quick update, about 2 minutes each. We'll go around the table and then we'll do the opening quotes and then we'll get to our predictions. So Adam, why don't you introduce yourself again? Tell us what you've been up to. 2 minutes, the whole story. Adam, welcome back.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me back, Bonnie, and great to see all the other panelists as well. It's been a crazy couple of months, a lot of exciting stuff at Dell Technologies. I've kind of continued my role as a global AI lead for our pre-sales division. I've had a chance to interact with many of the folks from both Jumbi and Igor's companies during the last 3 months, which has been exciting. And we just concluded our annual Dell Technologies World Conference for all of our customers, partners, and our entire ecosystem. Both Pryon and NVIDIA were there as well. So it was exciting to see a lot of emergence around AI, and conversational AI kind of stole the show, along with technologies like retrieval augmented generation. And I think that plays well into the future of smart cities as we think about delivering citizen services. So I won't go into too many details there, but it's been an exciting few months. I've been heads down dealing with that, and now I'm ready to get started and excited to be here with you today.
You are very kind. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Brenna Berman is back. Brenna, you wrote to me. You said, I'm so happy I can join you again. And I'm so happy you're here. And so
Yes.
is everybody else. I won't say girl
Yes.
power. I didn't say that, but I said, no, I didn't say that. You didn't
Yeah.
hear it. Okay. No, it was
Yeah, I
somebody
didn't hear it.
hallucinating. Brenna, bring us up to date. What have you been up to?
Yeah, no, good morning. I'm happy to be here because I almost didn't make it because of the power outages and weather damage here in Dallas. So, perhaps one of the best updates is I've been thinking a lot about the role that AI can play around weather prediction as weather becomes more volatile because of global warming, et cetera, because we've been having rolling daily violent thunderstorms, and none of them are covered by traditional weather predictions. So it makes preparation and emergency response challenging. I'm tired of cleaning up my yard repeatedly. So I've been thinking quite a bit about that. And I've also been engaged with a number of emerging nonprofit organizations that are all taking a different view in terms of the part of government they're working with. One is a number of commissioners from a health and human services perspective at the state level who are thinking about the role and impact AI is going to have on, detailed casework with at-risk individuals. One organization which is working directly with cities, which is actually thinking about what are the first measurable real use cases that are going to make AI real for cities. There's a lot of, policy work and brainstorming going on now, but how do we get to real implementation and what are the resources that cities need to get there? So that's where some of my work's been over the last couple of weeks.
Thank you very much. Interesting policy work and brainstorming. And the question is, do people really believe in the benefits of AI? Do they really, oh my goodness, I'm going to use the T word, do they trust it? That's a whole other show. And that's an underpinning what I don't usually talk about because all my shows are on the future of something, a career, a profession, a creative genre, something, a skill, and AI. We haven't talked about trust yet, but maybe that's another idea. So there we go. Thank you, Brenna. Welcome back. Jumbi, you're next. Join us. What you been up to?
Sure, yeah. As you know, I work with cities and local government agencies globally. And actually, just a lot of the stuff that I've been doing, actually, sort of echoing what Adam and Brenna are saying, is that, AI has now reached a point where, like Bonnie said, there was a lot of reticence, there was a lot of fear, there was a lot of, questions around job loss, trust, et cetera. But now, we've definitely gone over that hump, I would say, with a lot of governments, public agencies, cities, et cetera. And, applications like the ones Adam mentioned, where you're making a lot of city data information, public agency information, easily available to citizens for, our participatory democracy is just making a huge difference. And I was just recently at the Smart City Expo in New York City, and we were showing some of these applications. And I would say I've never been at a show where there was so much interest from so many cities and public agencies in really trying to figure out, what Brenna was saying, just cast it in general as AI for good, using AI for climate change, using AI for, citizen participation, using AI for traffic management. And everyone now realizes that, there is a lot of good to be had from, using really AI as assistive intelligence to all the stuff we're trying to do and, problems we're trying to solve.
I like that term, assistive intelligence.
Yeah.
Very insightful, Jumbi. I think we're going to tell everybody to change AI from artificial to assistive. What do you think? Could we start a movement like that? Let's ask Igor. You're up next. Igor, welcome back. Let's hear what you've been up to, please, and welcome.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to Adam and Jumbi. It's supporting a lot of these expositions. I think a lot of folks are still in the philosophical state of AI, where they're trying to figure out where does it fit, where doesn't it fit, and it's only because people are trying to figure out the intersection between these style of technologies and the regulatory environment. But when you get to brass tacks in terms of where they can start doing, there's a crawl, walk, run steps, right? And a lot of it tends to be on constituent services, from the glass outwards. And it seems simple to solve, but it's not, right? So you have, certain, cities that are, are considered typically at the forefront of technology adoption and also simultaneously the regulatory stuff in New York City. So they passed, a suite of directions on how they would use that style of technology, but then their bot was giving people wrong answers, right? That could have been illegal. So a lot of it, I think, is just the thought leadership of where does it fit? What do you have to be worried about? And we're seeing interest lighting up everywhere from the local, state, and federal level, and even for international governmental organizations, things like UN and the like, NATO and the like as well. So it's really trying to figure that out, but also creating technologies that are consumable and affordable, for them to start deploying. That's the tricky thing because I'm sorry, they don't have the Musk's budget to come in and call up Jumbi and say, hey, I need $1 billion worth of X, Y, and Z, right? So we have to meet these people where they are in their investment cycles, and that means having t-shirt sizes to meet them.
Jumbi is looking very sad that you don't have that $1 million budget, or did you say billion?
Million is good.
Billion.
Billion
Okay,
is- they don't
billion.
have
Yeah,
to.
Jumbi, we might be
Yeah.
able to come up with $1 million, but billion is going to have to wait a little bit. Thank you all for the interesting updates. I appreciate that. Let's briefly go through the opening quotes and then we'll focus on our predictions. So Adam has sent a quote from Joy, played by Anna de Armas, to Kay, the character, just the letter K, played by, he's in every movie these days, Ryan Gosling. Is there a movie he's not in? Blade Runner 2049. That's not the year, that's the title. American epic neo-noir sci-fi film released in 2017. It's already 7 years old already. Oh my goodness gracious. Gosling plays Kay, a Blade Runner who uncovers a secret that threatens to destabilize society in the course of civilization. And K is short for serial number KD 6-3.7. There you go. And let's see what Joy has to say. The quote is, mere data makes a man A and C and T and G, the alphabet of you. And she looks at him and continues, all from 4 symbols. I am only 2, 1 and 0. Adam, you want to explain this for us, please?
Yeah, as I was thinking about the quote for the show, I really started to try and think about patterns that I'm seeing emerge when we talk about smart cities and the adoption or the embracing of AI at a global scale, right, across these smart cities. And I think something that stands out for me in that movie is really about Kay being an android of sorts, right, in search of something without realizing so much some of the challenges that come with that and the humanity that's involved. And I think one of the things that I've started to notice is yet again, and this is something I think Brenna and Igor and Jumbi and I all talked about last time on your show. Oftentimes cities embrace technology, embrace change, but they do so without necessarily asking the citizens what the citizens need, right? They just push things forward. And so I'm starting to see a trend across AI adoption in the same fashion, right? Where it's, hey, let's embrace and adopt the latest and greatest, coolest technology, but not necessarily understand the humanity behind what we're delivering and what's actually needed from our citizens, right? And so it's something that I'm pretty passionate about. I think part of that involves the work I've been doing around conversational AI with Igor and Jumbi's companies and others. And I think, Brenna, you'll probably agree in some of the things that you've stated before, where sometimes it's important to pause and take a look and understand about what's taking place and make sure that the human element is still there as we deal with regulation and adoption and privacy and everything else. So it felt very real to me, that unique gap that was being bridged there.
Well put. And I have to mention that because replicant memories are artificial, Kay's holographic AI girlfriend, that's who Joy is, Joi, believes this is evidence that Kay was born, not created. And that goes back to the purpose of the movie. Thank you thank you very much. I enjoyed the scene, by the way, very much. I like looking at movie scenes. Brenna has picked a quote from T'Challa, played by Chadwick Boseman. Black Panther, 2018 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics character of the same name, produced by Marvel, distributed by Walt Disney Studios Motion Picture, the 18th film in the MCU Marvel Cinematic Universe. T'Challa, T'Challa, is crowned king of Wakanda following his father's death, but he's challenged by Killmonger, who plans to abandon the country's isolationist policies and begin a global revolution. We're still not doing politics, but here is the wonderful quote Brenna has picked. In times of crisis, the wise build bridges, while the foolish build barriers. Oh, Brenna, if only. Oh, if only. Go ahead, talk to us.
Yeah, no, I didn't pick that for the political implications. I chose it for two reasons. One, people who are familiar with the movie or the comic book, right, and Wakanda presents this sort of future view of what cities could be that is actually quite positive. But I chose it because that view, while it does come from a comic book, makes me pause and think about where cities and their partners, like those of us on this podcast, where they're going to get their inspiration for utilizing AI, right? One of the challenges I worry about is cities have a habit, and then I worked in one for years, of just doing the same thing over and over, not changing their processes, not changing their goals. And you certainly could use AI to just be faster and more efficient. And that's great, but that is not the impact that we should be going for here. This is an opportunity to wholesale rethink the role that cities play with their residents, and the role that cities play in being the foundation of a country, et cetera. And I worry that we might miss that opportunity in our rush to just implement solutions without thinking about them. And then the overall quote about, the wise versus the foolish, I think highlights the fact that it's still not clear how we will manage, or I hate to use the word control, but sort of ensure or foster the positive applications of AI, especially in the public realm, versus those that are less positive, and how we will even evaluate that impact over time. Some of that goes back to what Adam said about giving residents a voice in that work and what they want and the impact they feel, but also the lack of track record that almost every city has in evaluating the impact of something they've put in place and adjusting it if it's not producing the outcomes that they want. So I believe that cities can take that wise path to building bridges, or roads, or new buildings, or whatever cities need to build. But I don't know that we can get there without pausing to think really hard about how we protect and work with our residents to make sure AI is used for good and not good.
Great points, Brenna, and the idea of the introspection of the city. What should we be doing for our residents? Not how fast can AI make it happen, but what are we doing and why, and what's the benefit of that? And how can AI help us get there better? That's a different take on shiny new object. Let's sign up right now. Wow, look at us. Yes, very, very different. Thank you very much. Let's go to Jumbi's quote. Very serious quotes today. This is a quote from the lyrics to Packard Goose by Frank Zappa. Oh my goodness. Packard Goose is, I'm sorry, package. Is Packard a packet? Packard. Packard Goose. I had package. It was a spell check error. There you go. Automatic. Is Act 3 of Dystopian Society. There's my background, Jumbi, of Joe's Garage, a 3-part rock opera released by Frank Zappa in September and November 1979. 2 albums on Zappa's records. Joe's Garage, Acts 1, 2, and 3 in 1987. The story is told by a character identified as the central scrutinizer, narrating the story of Joe, an average adolescent male from Canoga Park, LA, who forms a garage rock band. I had a rock band in my garage. Unsatisfying relationships with women. Oh no. Gives all of his money to a government assisted and insincere religion. Oh no, no, no. Explores sexual activities. I said that word on radio. I'm not supposed to say that. With a plot. Never mind, we won't go there. And is imprisoned. Let's just leave that one alone. Here is the quote. I forgot I left that in my notes. Damn, Bonnie. Information is not, all right, let me start again. Information is not knowledge. Knowledge is not wisdom. Wisdom is not truth. Wow, Jumbi. Can you untangle this for us, please?
Sure. We kind of live in a world right now that's obsessed with, productivity and growth. And we, chase sort of these new technologies, but, we obviously conflate truth with wisdom, wisdom with knowledge and knowledge with information. As both actually Adam and Brenna both said, to really address some of these issues, the, if you will, existential crises that, we're faced as a species, such as, climate change, and the resource crunch resulting from rapid urbanization globally, we really need to start being cognizant of the differences between wisdom and truth, knowledge and wisdom, and definitely knowledge and information. So just because AI, for example, is capable of analyzing and even generating a large amount of information, humans, and, for that matter, all sentient beings really need to be the ones to understand, the true nature of the condition and the ways, we can address the issues we face. As, Adam just said, we really need to understand, I love this phrase, understand the humanity behind the technology, not just the amount of data that we can collect and process. And, again, Brenna made a great point. We need to think about how to change things in fundamental ways rather than, simply chasing this new thing called AI.
Shiny new object syndrome, right? I'm going on gallery view. Here we are. Thank you very much. Very interesting. And we have one more very serious quote from Igor. And this is a quote from Land of Confusion, song by the English rock band Genesis, 1986, from the album Invisible Touch. Music was written by the band. Lyrics were written by the guitarist Mike Rutherford. Blah, 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 blah. It made number 14 in the UK in 1986 and number 4 in the US the following January, top 10 in Canada, if anybody cares. Let's see now. Here's the quote, and it's a lyric. Well, this is the world we live in, and these are the hands we're given. Use them and let's start trying to make it a place worth living in. How beautiful, Igor. You want to tell us a little bit about this, please?
I know. I didn't expect to be the most optimistic of everybody. Usually that's my shtick. I have to take the inverse function.
No, you stay with the optimism. That's what we're talking about here. Go ahead.
If I give you a wry smile, that my family members say that's me rolling on the floor laughing. So I know, Bonnie, you keep tweaking me for not being more expressive, but it's a big deal if you get a Mona Lisa smile out of me. Look, I think I actually gave a keynote yesterday, and you got me thinking about these lyrics, and that's the walk-on music that they selected for me as well. And here's why: because everybody feels like the Cold War is back, and all these things that we thought were in our rearview mirror. But of course, we've all heard this trope before: history repeats itself, and it really is. Patterns from World War I, patterns from World War II, patterns from the Cold War, they're all coming back as well. And a lot of times when we get lost in the morass of technology, we forget that it's humans deciding to apply these technologies as well. Now, the reason why I like that particular quote is like all is not lost, right? If you always have more kids building sandcastles than kicking them down. With these style of technologies, we could work towards a utopia, or it could be District 1, right? In Hunger Games and things of that sort. And of course, all of these things are double-edged sword, right? You have, facial recognition. I know that's an easy one to beat up, right? Oh my gosh, we don't want to turn into certain, despotic regimes, but then at the same time, we want to solve, certain things and help prevent certain issues with these style of technologies as well. But I think instead of feeling like we're passive actors in history and just letting all of this stuff happens. What excites me about the individuals here on your show, Bonnie, is that they represent folks and organizations that are actively trying to project a positive, vision for these style of technologies as well. And as long as we have more people like that out there, we're going to be just fine.
Thank you very much. I like that. You said optimism, you delivered optimism. Thank you very much, Igor. Thank you all for the work on the quotes. They were very interesting, very deep, very deep. I hope I did justice to the research. And let's move on to our predictions. We really have been doing a lot of predictions since we started with your bios and the work you're all doing right now. So I don't feel like we didn't get to the predictions yet. We've been talking around it. So let's make this the formal introduction of your predictions. I've asked you each for 1 or 2 fresh predictions for this part 2 show, and let's address some of these. So Adam, I've put one of yours into the chat for you. Brenna, I've got one teed up, and I'll put one in for Jumbi and Igor in a minute. So Adam says, interruption, intrusion, and surveillance from AI in an effort to drive citizen engagement will become commonplace well before value is derived in the cities of the future. You got to unpack that for me, Adam. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm going to play a little bit off of Igor's lyrical choice, or album, I should say. Maybe it's the song Land of Confusion, right? Because I think if we look at some of the more prevalent AI technologies being embraced first today, it's very much about question and answer, immediate need for information, the demand for, real-time data right now. And I think the easy answer for a lot of organizations and also a lot of cities is to take advantage of that and then turn around and leverage it to interact with citizens, right? Billboards and all the things that you see in futuristic movies of, AI talking to people as they walk down the street and interacting with them on their phones. And so I see now a world already where our children are constantly inundated with push notifications and alerts and messages and texts and chats from phones and other devices. AI will only compound that complexity. And so if we don't build those bridges that Brenna talked about earlier and figure out ways to look to take advantage of the technology for positive, I think what will happen is it will be very easy for citizens and cities both to shift towards this constant interruption and this constant distraction before we actually start to take advantage of the technology to drive true value, like Brenna had mentioned before.
Interesting. I just read the zodiac background for Gemini. We're in the month of Gemini now, and they don't like repetition or sameness or boring things, and they're always looking for the new, the shiny new object. Isn't that interesting? So we need to name a city Gemini. Are there any cities named Gemini, right? Wouldn't that be interesting? Brenda, what do you think? Are there any cities named Gemini? I have to
Yeah,
look.
no, I think that we could probably look that up.
Yeah, I
But-
will in between.
Yeah.
Anybody
No,
have
it's an-
any? Go ahead, Brenna. Go ahead.
I would say it's an interesting question when you start thinking about the role that digital twins and AI play, right, with cities. So maybe there's a Gemini for each city out there and how they map their path to the future.
Gemini, the AI twin cities. Very, very interesting. I just had to bring that up. Okay, let's go on. Brenna, you're up. I'm looking at your new prediction number 2. I like this one. AI has the potential to scale the digital divide. Governments at all levels will have to transform to address this risk early and give AI the chance to enhance equity. Let's talk about
Right.
enhancing equity. Go ahead, Brenna.
So this is one of those places where AI could be both the solution or the accelerator of a problem. In the past, we've understood the digital divide to be primarily around the broadband or connectivity access to information and services, right? We still have a number of cities, neighborhoods, rural areas in the US that don't have the type of connectivity that most of us depend on in our day-to-day life. The digital divide can also refer to the skills that some communities struggle to develop to take advantage of connectivity, right? Being online only matters if you can make use of it. And AI could go the same direction in that you will have people who have both the financial and sort of knowledge wherewithal to adopt AI into their day-to-day lives, the organizations they run, to drive improvements, enhanced revenue, whatever their end goal is. But we will have people that aren't able to do that if we don't think about what the role of AI is for people who have been more disconnected from online technologies in the past. And I think the good news about this, because I think Igor, you've inspired me to try and be more optimistic about all of these challenges today, is I think that AI can also be the answer to understanding the models and engagement approaches that can actually prevent that gap from occurring. So this is top of mind for me, because, you know, if cities have always been a source of, or a foundation for equity of people, you know, moving to the city and being able to increase their opportunities, the opportunities for their family, et cetera. And ideally, AI will become part of that process for people that are urbanizing.
Thank you very much. Very interesting. Yes, and I'm doing a show in August with some of the people some of you know, including you, Brenna, on the future of urbanization and AI, but it's not going to be just about smart cities. Somebody approached me with a topic, and I said, let's almost make that part 3 of this, but with a different perspective, a different overview. Anybody have anything to add to Brenna's comments, to her prediction? No? Jumbi, go ahead, jump in.
No, I was going to say, we actually have groups within the company working with different cities, but also different countries. And there's this, big sort of thought today that, countries like, again, previously in the past, have built up their, military arsenal and stuff to become more powerful than the others. These days, there's definitely some thought around sovereign AI and how they want to be able to control their own data and come up with all this amazing AI that's going to put them, economically, in some cases, even militarily ahead of the others. So, I completely agree with Brenna that this is the point where we really have to make, some tough choices and make sure we don't go in the direction where, these sovereign AI initiatives are used more as, instruments of divisiveness and really cast a much broader net for inclusion.
Enhancing equity, that's where we want to take it, right, Brenna? Okay, let's go on. Jumbi, you are next. I'm looking at your prediction 1. It's in the chat for you. Automatic translation by AI. Everybody just wrap your thoughts around that. Automatic translation by AI will finally break down language barriers and increase citizens' access to participatory governance. Let's talk about that automatic translation, because ChatGPT recently launched 4o for Omni. I used the free ChatGPT, so I got a sample version, but without the translation services and without what I call the bells and whistles. So I didn't use, I might be switching back and forth. I don't know, but I'm waiting for that. It might even be worth paying the $20 a month to sign up for it. I'm not sure. I understand me, and I don't have anybody who needs to translate me, and you all seem to be doing pretty well. So Jumbi, give us your prediction, please. Unpack.
Yeah, this has been kind of the stuff of sci-fi for quite a while, but it's finally becoming real. Like you said, Google Translate has been for a while. People have been using that. But the ability to just automatically on the fly translate voice, takes it to just another level. And, at the basic level, it's going to allow people to really talk to and understand each other, which will, hopefully make everyone more empathetic in general and resolve some of, these crazy conflicts going on around the world today. It definitely is a huge step for increasing, citizens' access to participatory governance. And we actually saw a really good example of that, where a partner of ours actually installed an automatic translation capability in City Hall in one of the cities. And a couple of months after that happened, where citizens could get up and talk in any language and get response back in the language that they spoke in, participation more than doubled just in a couple of months. So it clearly shows that it works. And, even in the world of technology, it'll greatly increase access and inclusion by, allowing people in, general across the globe to develop and use tools in different languages, and not just have to do everything in English or French or one of these major languages. So I think it's going to make a huge difference just globally going forward.
Thank you very much. Interesting. I watch a lot of French detective shows on MHZ. Murder in ... It's a different city all over France and other countries, and they're gorgeous scenery. And there's always a couple or people getting together or hating each other who have to work on the case. But they have a version of this that has overdubbing the voices in English. I won't watch that because I want to hear the French. I lived in Switzerland one summer and I spoke fluent French at the time, not much anymore, but you all know I can count backwards from 5. That's about what's left. But I like to hear the beauty of the French language spoken. And then you can't be doing anything else because they talk so fast. So I have to read the English subtitles, but I refuse to watch the version with the English overdubbing because I think that's terrible. It takes the beauty of the language out. So I don't know where that's going with the translation comment, but I wanted to add that. Brenna, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think what you just said, Bonnie, about the cultural implications of maintaining languages, right? There's hundreds of languages around the world that we're in danger of losing. And with that comes the erosion of the culture of the people that speak that language. My mom is one of the last Irish speakers, right? And there's this huge push in Ireland to teach your younger kids to speak Irish. And if you don't have to learn English or Spanish or Japanese or Chinese to participate in the business community, et cetera, your chances of maintaining whatever your native language was and the culture that comes along with it are going to be much higher, which I actually think is a great aspect, Jumbi, of what you just said.
It is. Thank you. And what's interesting is that it has to be able to accurately convey the idioms. Because when I was learning French in junior high and high school, idioms were what rocked. When I went to Switzerland and lived with a French family for a month, the idioms that I brought with me from New York, from Mr. Levine, my French teacher, where they were so impressed that I could say next week, d'aujourd'hui en 8, 8 days from today. There were all kinds of little things I brought with me, and they said that's very impressive because I learned the customary language, not just the textbook language. So the translators have to be able to keep, Brenna, that flavor, right, Jumbi? That flavor of the language when it's translated, not just bup, 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 bup. So anyway, thank you. Very, very interesting comment. Igor, you want to add anything before I go to one of your predictions? You good? Okay. Igor says, this is prediction number 1 for part 2. He says there will be a breakthrough in life sciences where a previously impossible ailment is cured with AI. This will make the populace more receptive to trying it elsewhere. That's a big statement in a short sentence. Igor, why don't you take that out for us? Go ahead, bring it up.
Yeah, I mean, if you really get to brass tacks, the only thing any individual human, actually any living being cares about is their own mortality, and that's it. There's nothing else. There's literally nothing else. So when you strike, at the core of it and show how these technologies that we're all jointly working on are going to be starting to change outcomes, and literally bring people from the brink of their demises as well. I think they will fully embrace these technologies for the positive use of it, not the negative use that we talk about. Oh my gosh, it's going in drones. Oh my God, it's cybersecurity. It's going to unlock things and shut down our power and shut down our water and all these things. But we'll have a string of good news coming out of that. And then if Jumbi and Adam are looking at their quarterly numbers now, imagine order of magnitude or orders of magnitude more, just bear hugging these technologies because of what else can it do now that it's literally and personally doing that. Honestly, when I say that, because we all get to be public speakers and things of that in these conferences, and it's very easy to fall down the rabbit hole of all the negative stuff. Oh my God, it's going to be used for disinformation and affecting elections and blah blah blah, all this stuff. And so this is the one that I always leave at the end, and people get teary-eyed and things of that sort, but because inevitably they come up and say, wow, thanks for sharing that, because I have a family member that's affected by X, Y, and Z. This gives us all hope to continue reaching for the future.
Thank you. Very, very well put. Any comments anybody want to add? We have time for a round 2. So I've already put some more predictions into the chat, at least for Adam and Brenna so far. Let's see how we do. So Adam, there's number 2 you put for part 2. Here we go. Corporations and politics. I'm going to change that to policies, focusing on AI to bring talent, solicit funding, and grow economics will drive developments of future cities for both good and bad. We'll focus on the good. So let's talk about soliciting funding and bringing talent. How will AI help? Adam?
Yeah, so all of the panelists have already brought up some really great topics that blend very nicely into this prediction. And I almost want to say this is more common sense than it is really a prediction, right? I think there's no secret that cities and governments of the future are going to be looking to retain talent in a workforce that's struggling, right? When you have private companies and other organizations that pay really, really well. So there's a huge need to bring that talent into cities, and there will be competition going on for that, right? But as part of that, bringing in the technology companies and the organizations that are working on this will be important. When we talk about language translation, it opens up the possibility, for example, for people to go build those libraries, to build those idioms into those libraries. As an example right now, if we look at something like conversational AI, there's already work being done to recognize sign language, both from the receiving end as well as the input, right? And someone has to actually build those libraries and account for all the subtle nuances and the different ways that hand gestures could possibly be mimicked in order to actually build that foundational library that AI takes advantage of, right? And so as we think about the future and the development of these cities and how we're going to build those bridges Brenna talks about, how we're going to drive those positive changes that Igor mentions are in the healthcare space, and just focus on all of the things that everyone has been kind of talking towards. I think what we have to do is try and encourage these cities and these organizations and these governments to focus on bringing the right talent in, solicit the right funding, and attracting the right companies. And those are the cities that will flourish in the ways that Brenna and Jumbi and Igor all envision. And so that would be the good side of it, right? And as you said, we'll refrain from the bad.
Yeah. That's done on a lot of other shows. I try not to you can go anywhere and hear that. This is the upbeat show. Yes, very, very interesting. When Adam, could you just clarify for me, please, when we talk about AI bringing in talent, are we talking about AI specialists, AI experts, AI crafters and honers and niche scientists in AI? Are we talking about just the environment or the ambiance of saying we're using AI, come work with us, it's an exciting workplace? To me, that's two different sides of the coin, and there's a little bit of a Venn diagram in there. There's a little bit of an overlap because some people will be both. Any thoughts on that, Adam?
Yeah, so real quickly, I'll say I think it's a little bit of both for now, but I think as we continue to evolve into the future, it's very much going to be the folks that are familiar with using it to grow their capabilities, right? I think, honestly, I don't think that AI necessarily has to replace jobs. I think AI has to replace the mundane tasks that are repetitive and can be handled by machine so that we can evolve as a species to do the tasks that are more fulfilling, whether it's creativity, whether it's artistry, whether it's intelligence, whatever that case may be. And so I think as a society, we'll continue to evolve. So it may start with, hey, it's an exciting place that's using AI, come work here. But as you do, you'll naturally grow and embrace that technology to become better at actually using it to your advantage.
Thank you. And to your organization's advantage. Thank you very much for clarifying. Brenna, prediction number one here. I want to get one more from Igor and from Jumbi as well after this. So let's tighten this up. You say AI introduces efficiencies, personalization. That's where I want you to focus on, and data-driven insights that will redefine participation experience. For governments, this will be a blessing of providing a deeper, more personalized understanding of constituents' needs. It'll be a curse as cities try to strive with limited resources to meet those needs. Let's talk about the blessing part. Brenna?
Right. No, so the personalization of city services is something that's been going on for a while now, right? Cities have started to adopt, understanding their residents by segments and, what do parents need versus what do elderly families need, things like that. And that's all good. And AI can help bring that even further, right? The end degree being each individual resident of a city engaging with their city individually for services that just they need. The downside of that for cities is the amount of service delivery resources required to address that, and the fact that residents will come to demand that because they'll be getting that kind of service from their healthcare organizations, from their banks, from the other institutions they engage with, right? Educational organizations. So this is where I go back to the very first thing I said, is that cities need to rethink their entire sort of organizational being in order to take advantage of AI and not be swamped by the efficiencies that it brings to the table, rather than just going faster, because faster, more personalized services, means that for the city of Chicago, instead of delivering to 2.5 million people that you understand as one type of person, which has its downsides, they're now trying to deliver to 2.5 million individuals that all need and want something different. And so how you create that scale is something that cities are going to have to work very hard on.
That's the make for me in manufacturing. Remember when that was all the rage a couple years ago? You could get that pair of sneakers, or trainers, as they say overseas, trainers with the sparkles and with the logo on it and with the colors and with the different types of ties or the Velcro on it, and they would make it just for you. So all of the individuals, Brenna, and as a group, very hard to typecast groups today, isn't it? It's all kinds of challenges. Yeah. Anybody have a comment on that? Are we good? Okay, I'm going to move on. We're actually going to get to 2 predictions each. This is a milestone for my show. Okay, that's because you're all speaking so well and so concisely. Jumbi, I'm looking at prediction number 2 for you, and we have not touched on this at all. So let's expand this. You say there's going to be an explosion in creativity with artists using AI generative tools to create pictures, songs, movies, and more. Creative generative content will enable the generation of economic activity in non-traditional locales, such as San Jose could be the next Hollywood. Be still my heart if you live in San Jose. Jumbi, take us through this. This is interesting. This is fun.
Yeah, I was trying to come up with to try to make a more general point about the fact that some of these new tools and capabilities, enabled by AI, will really enable different populations and different regions, different cities to capitalize on these, growth opportunities afforded by these technologies. So, generation of creative content is one example of that. It'll enable artists in, many different parts of the world to create amazing content using, one of the tools that you talked about, Night Cafe or Midjourney for generating all kinds of pictures, Sora or Canva for really making, pretty decent movies, or, the other one that you mentioned, Sono, for making music. So, like I said in the prediction, San Jose or even Lagos could be the next Hollywood or the next Nashville, and they'll attract talent based on the fact that, they've become, these hubs of creativity.
That calls into question, what are the models based on? Whose voices or artwork or music are they using with or without paying for it, with or without permission? We all know the now famous case of Scarlett Johansson, who said no to using her voice, and they got a sound-alike actress who did it without Scarlett's permission. And I don't know if that lawsuit is still alive. And I know we don't do that on this show, but it's just interesting that the creative hub will have to be based on, is it using just AI creativity? Is it respecting hybrid creativity with humans? Are humans going to be the creative trainers for the model that does the generative AI creativity? That's a whole, I got to do a show on that. If anybody wants to join that one, let me know. Always looking for new topics. Thank you. Igor, let's go to prediction number 2 from you, and then we're going to wrap up. You say sovereign AI, I know you mentioned this before, will surpass sovereign LLMs, large language models. And I want you to break that down for us, Igor. At the core of smart visitors with 2 distinct flavors, whether they evolve from democratic systems or those with more centralized controls, they'll become new forms of soft power as exports. I don't understand any of that. You're way over my pay grade, Igor. So would you please decimate that or unpack it for me? Go ahead.
Yeah, think about business applications and the great businesses that ServiceNow, SAP, and Salesforce has. At their core are essentially structured databases, and they're essentially commoditized, and nobody really talks about them. So large language models essentially are going to be commoditized and optimized for the underlying accelerators in the physical hardware server stacks that they're going to be developed for. But once those optimizations are done, the differentiation is going to be everything else that's umbrellaed around these assets as well, in the same way that they built those applications. So you saw some early work right in the Middle East and in Asia Pacific on the concept of a sovereign LLM, but that's not enough. There's going to have to be a lot more essentially, constructed around them in terms of what content should be hosted in there. How do you audit and log and connect and integrate with other constituent services, academic institutions, the private sector, the public sector, and the like? And that's where the puck's going to move in terms of where they can go. Now, what does a projection of soft power mean? Well, it's this. Not many nation states are going to be able to pull that off. We are. And so maybe, we take that to allies and say, hey, here's the stack. Here's the accelerators, here's the servers, here's the software, here's the connectors, here's the integrations. This is how you integrate your academic institutions into your national labs, your civic services and things of that sort. And we show up with this on a silver platter in the same way that the Chinese, to their credit, with the Belt and Road Initiative and things of that sort, have shown up and said, hey, here's some of our learning in terms of building critical infrastructure. You want a new port, you want a new airport, you want a new railways. Here you are. This just happens to be the technological version of that same thing in terms of creating a new stack of critical infrastructure, in the same way that they did with telcos, right? With Huawei exports and things of that sort. We have an opportunity to export our worldview. Now, what does that mean in terms of the split between two different worldviews? Well, this is building on the idea that Eric Schmidt had, which is he thought the internet would splinter into two pieces. One that's North Korea, that's China, that's Iran, that's Russia, and their allies. And on the other side of it, it's the free world.
Okay, thank you very much. Very, very interesting. Anybody have any comments about what Igor just shared? Jumbi's not sure. He's saying, I don't want to say anything. Okay, that's fine. Adam's saying, I don't want to say anything either. Thank you, Igor, very, very much. We have about 3.5 minutes left. And in that time, let's do something a little bit different. Go around the table, same order. Adam, Brenna, Jumbi, and Igor. What's your favorite smart city right now? And I know, Brenna, I didn't prepare you for this. Or what city would you like to become so smart that you would want to live there, or where you're already living and it would be better? Better is a very subjective term, I know. Adam, favorite current smart city, or where would you like to be that would be smart enough for you? Adam, go.
Yeah, so real quickly, I'll say honestly, off the top of my head, it's going to be City of Amarillo as my favorite smart city. Only selfishly because I worked on a project with them. They've done some really amazing things. They have a huge immigration population. They have over 62 spoken languages in the city. And they're leveraging AI to be able to bring citizen services to their constituents and to embrace those 62 languages in schools, in government services, in 311, to be able to provide access for all of those different individuals and languages to be able to have the same equality and inclusion when it comes to getting citizen services. So to me, I think it's just a really powerful story on the humanity side of things. And so I'm going to have to go with City of Amarillo.
Thank you. I've got 20 seconds for each of you. We're almost out of time. Brenna, favorite city currently smart, or where?
Really quick, I'm going to go with Barcelona, which has been a smart city for a long time. It's often an example, but I call it out not just because of its use of technology, but because of its use of design and engagement to make sure it's the right technology. So things like the mega blocks where people can live close to where they work, play, and shop. The projects they're putting in place to keep the elderly connected to their communities, because we know the health impacts of loneliness. So I would put Barcelona on top of that list still because of how they combine those aspects of culture with technology.
And I'm going to invoke the TV ad where they say Barcelona. Let's leave that.
Yeah, I've never been able to do that.
Sorry, I know. Jumbi, city, fast, go.
Yeah, the one I'd pick, I think, is the top of a lot of people's lists is Singapore. And not because, it is a small, city nation. They have a lot of resources and all that good stuff. But the reason I think their model is really fascinating is what they pay their public servants. I mean, if you're a really, hotshot graduate from college, your ideal job is government, not the
Yep.
private sector.
Got to interrupt. Igor, favorite city? Go fast.
All that.
Yeah, look, I like what the Saudis are doing with the NEOM thing, because even if it's mission impossible, at least it's a bold vision of something new that's never been on planet Earth before.
Thank you.
Because I
Thank
couldn't
you.
say Amarillo because we're working with that one.
Everybody put up your finger. You're going to join me in a no, no, no on the count of 3. People say the future is already here. And our answer is 1, 2, 3. No, no, come on, yell. No, no, no. I didn't hear anybody. No, no, no. That's because that future's gone already. The future is ahead of us. Let's all be smart and make it a better one. Bonnie D signing off. Don't go away, panelists. Buddy, wave goodbye. Bye LinkedIn, bye Facebook, bye YouTube, and bye to Matt and Jordan at Voice America for being my engineers. Okay, are we out? Jordan, are you there?
All clear.
Thank you very much. Let me